So, with me delving into the new Transformers Red or Robot Enhanced Design toy line the other week, I thought I'd give my opinion on what Transformers characters I'd like to see in future waves of this non transforming Transformers toy line. So, without any further delay, let's get into it. Number 10, The Mistress of Flame. Starting off with a character I'm a little unfamiliar with, but I think would be a good fit for this line. The Mistress of Flame from the IDW comics and the Power of the Primes cartoon. Although I haven't kept up with the comics, I do know that she's an important figure in the Camian government and a key character in the comic story. And like I said, she also appeared in the Power of the Primes cartoon, where she had a really cool battle with Overlord. And she would also be mentioned in the Transformers Cyberverse cartoon. So we do know that there is at least another Mistress of Flame in that continuity as well, even if we didn't get to see her. So I would hazard to guess that the Mistress of Flame could reappear in future Transformers fiction. So having a figure of her would be worthwhile. Number 9, Nightbird. Now, I almost didn't put Nightbird in this top 10, simply because she's already had a couple of really good transforming toys already. I especially love the Takara Legends version of her, which was a repaint and remold of the Thrilling 30 RC mold. But one of the things that the R.E.D line is known for is the additional articulation and inclusion of accessories. And that's where I think a new non-transforming Nightbird figure could really shine. Being a ninja robot, she should have an impressive range of articulation. And I would expect that she would come with a large arsenal of weapons that even her Legends figure didn't come with. Not just her size and lightsaber, but also her nunchucks and throwing stars. And since the R.E.D line is known for swappable hands too, I'd expect her to come with a variety of hands, from fists, the karate chop hands, to those saw blades that she had. I think that she would be a really fun addition to the line, and she would probably work well with your generation figures too. Number 8, Perceptor. But not the classic G1 Perceptor design that we're familiar with. No, I'm talking about Perceptor, the combined form of the kids' minicons from Transformers Armada. While coming up with this list, I was searching through every franchise I could think of, looking for any character that would benefit from having a non-transforming figure. While certainly a lot of Armada characters like Optimus Prime and Hotshot definitely deserve new, more articulated figures, I think it would be best if they were given new transforming figures that had both superior articulation from that of their previous toys, while also keeping the ability to convert to vehicle mode. Those types of characters I am saving for a different top 10. So instead, I think the Minicon Combiner Perceptor would be a good fit for the R.E.D toy line. His original combined mode was pretty limited in articulation, so I think a nicely articulated version of the character would be a welcome and unique addition to the line, and it would be a good representation for the Armada brand. Plus, he would fit with another idea I have for another video I'm planning in the future. Number 7, Botanica. This one's pretty simple. Botanica never got a figure, despite being featured in Beast Machine's small cast of characters. So I think it's about time that she gets one. And honestly, there's no way that they could make a transforming figure out of her and still have her look like her character model from the show. So I think a non-transforming figure is kind of the best way to go. The only trouble is, which form do you pick? Her robot mode or her plant mode? Personally, I kind of like her plant mode better. I think it's more iconic than her robot mode, and I'd go with that if I were to choose. Number 6, Halonix Maximus. Like I mentioned in my G1 Retro review of Heavy Metal War, Halonix Maximus never got a figure. He barely even got a name. But he was part of a very memorable episode of the original Transformers series. And I think it would be great to finally have a figure of him. They could even do him as a Build-A-Figure since he's supposed to be a bigger bot and on scale with Devastator. Or, they could just do him as a normal figure too. That would be fine. Number 5, Autobot X, or Autobot Spike, depending on what you want to call him. Again, basically the same story as Halon X Maximus here. Autobot X was basically the star of the episode Autobot Spike, and it's a shame that we never got a real figure of him. And again, he could be a Build-A-Figure too, like McAdam was in the Cyberverse Deluxe toy line, which would be very fitting for the character since he is a collection of random Autobot parts. And he could even come with a Megatron in gun mode, which other characters like Optimus, Starscream, and Soundwave could potentially wield as well. Number 4. Ravage, from Beast Wars. While I know G1 Ravage turns into a cassette, Ravage in Beast Wars never really turned into anything. Okay, technically in the show he did manage to magically shrink down into a cassette, and his Japanese exclusive toy, which was a repaint and remold of Transmetal Cheetor, could still transform into a four-legged panther, as opposed to his upright anthropomorphic panther-headed robot mode. But I still think just a plain robot mode only figure of him would be really cool. And it would probably fit with any potential Generation-style Beast Wars Season 2 inspired figures. They could obviously give him his guns, maybe some Energon bonds to wrap other figures in, and maybe even a tiny cassette version of himself. Then you would have him in both modes. He just wouldn't be able to transform between them. Number 3. Metal Hawk. I tried to not just include every single pretender in existence on this list, but I think if you're going to do one in the R.E.D. toy line, it's gotta be the coolest one of them all. How can you not do the leader of the Pretenders from Master Force? The only problem is, which form of him do you do? Do you do his armored up Pretender form? Or his robot mode? Personally, I think his robot mode is cooler, but it is supposed to transform, and I'd hope that one day we would get a new original transforming version of it. Whereas his Power Rangers looking Pretender form is still pretty cool, and I think it lends itself to accessories more. So yeah, let's go with that. His Pretender form as our choice for his toy in the R.E.D. toy line. Number 2. Sari Sumdak. Now, I tried not to include any humans on this list either, because I'm actually saving them for yet another top 10 video. But... oh, by the way, this is your spoiler warning if you have not watched all of Animated yet. Which you really should. Seriously, it's a great show. So if you haven't, skip ahead now to the time that is on your screen if you don't want any big spoilers. Okay, all good? So, like I was saying, I didn't want to put any humans on this list, and technically I haven't, because Sari is a techno-organic Cybertronian human hybrid. Okay, so I guess that still makes her partially human, but still. How awesome would it be to have a Sari figure? Specifically, I'm talking about her older, upgraded form. Just think of all the accessories she could come with. Her arm blades, her hammer, maybe they could even include a helmeted head and a non-helmeted head. Maybe even her jetpack too. It would be so great to finally have a Sari figure to put on our animated shelves. Especially after we almost got one in the form of a Windblade repaint from the now-defunct Transformers Collectors Club. And before we get to our number 1, some honorable mentions. Since we did get Transformers Prime RC in the R.E.D. toy line, it would be nice to have her nemesis R.E.D. as well. Her original Prime toys were pretty terrible, and this was back when Transformers mainline toys were actually pretty good. So, if they couldn't do a decent R.E.D. toy back then, when they were actually trying, there's no way they can give us a good transforming one today. The only question would be, would she come in her normal robot mode, or her sort of half spider mode? It would be nice if you could transform her legs into the spider mode, but this is the non-transforming Transformers line. So maybe they could include some kind of accessory, like a swappable lower half, or something that would do the same job. Another interesting one would be Alana from the G1 episode Sea Change. Of course, she could transform in that episode, but it was obviously a total cheat. There's no way they could actually make a real transforming figure of her that looked like she did in the show. So why not make her an R.E.D figure, and you can finally put her next to your Sea Spray figure of choice. And the last of the honorable mentions, why not a diagnostic drone from Beast Machines? He was kind of an important part of Beast Machines when you think about it. Of course, the only problem is that he's just a little drone. He wouldn't fill out a R.E.D box. Unless, of course, he came as an accessory for Megatron in his metal dress. Then I can see it working, but neither of them are very exciting toys. I mean, you could probably only move their arms on each of them, and maybe they'd come with their own display stand so it looks like they're both hovering, but that's about it. And finally, our number one Transformers character that I hope gets a figure in the R.E.D toy line, Alpha Trion. Come on, this line is perfect for him. He never transformed in the show. They could include 2 or 3 alternate heads so that you could have his range from young Rebel A3 to old man Alpha Trion. He could come with the Covenant of Primus and his quill, maybe even the key to Vector Sigma, or even Vector Sigma itself. Seriously, this line seems like it was made to give us our perfect G1 Alpha Trion figure. I'm surprised that he's not already announced. Well, what about you? What did you think of my choices for characters who should have toys in the R.E.D toy line? Is there anyone who you'd like to see in the line instead? As always, let me know down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff. Seriously, I know me and every other YouTuber says that all the time, but it really helps with the whole YouTube algorithm thing, and helps other people find my stuff and get the channel noticed when you do that. So please do. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again on another Transformers Top 10 video in the future.